JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 22nd of July 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's live session, Wednesday's afternoon's live session, where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts that we looked at this morning, just to see how everything's kind of getting along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now, I have a few instruments that I really wanted to quickly go through, just to, like I said, some of them are just a quick update, some of them could be quite interesting. So now the first one I want to touch on here is the German DAX. Now the DAX is retracing a little bit today. It's not heavily kind of to the downside for now. It's just a little bit it's losing around 0.5% right now. Of course, let's see how all this is going to end up today at the close, but in a way it seems that we could see maybe a bit of a correction here, unless the US markets are going to save the day here and they will manage to lift the European indices as well. So again, for now the German DAX is struggling with this barrier here, the 13,236 level. I talked about this one in my previous videos, and basically that's the high of the 24th of February. Yesterday we did get a nice overshoot, but we didn't get a nice daily close. So now looking at this picture, you can see that this barrier somehow is kind of acting as a good area of resistance. So ideally a daily close above this area could do the trick for more buyers, and then the index could drift further north. But again, for now, it is where it is. If it continues to slide, for example, then keep your eyes on the June high here near the 12,913 zone. So let's see if that area actually provides decent support. Now jumping into Nasdaq 100. So the index yesterday closed in the red, and well, among the top kind of three kind of indices here, the S&P, the Dow, and the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was the kind of the worst performer, and you can see here it drifted back down. And yesterday when I was covering Nasdaq, what I was saying that keep your eyes on this little level right here, the 10,800 and 10,833 territory. Let me just quickly double check. Is that, no, that's, sorry, the 10,843 43 territory. That was the high of the 10th of July, not last week's high, but the week before that. And you can see that the index kind of drifted lower and kind of ended the day around it, near very close to that level. So what I was saying, that if we get a nice decent drop and we get a nice decent close below this area, then we may actually go for a bit of a correction here to the downside. But if we look at the cash index right now and where everything is trading at, you'll see that the price is balancing near the 10,864 zone. So basically not far from this level, but nevertheless slightly above it. So that's why we cannot really talk about any downside, maybe this larger correction to the downside yet. We would like to see that drop, a good drop below this area, and then we could aim for some a lower some lower levels, but again a lower levels up until this upside support line taken from the low the 23rd of March, and which could in a way provide some support here. It also, by the way, is not far from the 21-day EMA, which also could be a good area of support, so let's keep an eye on this one. But again, all eyes today are on this area, and of course if we get a nice rebound from this area, from this 10,843 zone, then we'll aim for the all-time high again around the 11,069 zone, so keep your eyes on that one. Now jumping into DXY very quickly here. So this morning I talked about this one, and then I talked about this one yesterday as well. Basically the idea here was that if we get a nice decent close, daily close below this 95.72 territory, then yep, further declines are possible, and this is exactly what we're getting right now. We did get yesterday that nice good drop below it, and now what we're aiming here for is the lowest point of March near the 94.65 level. So at the same time, that level is also the lowest point of this year so far, of course. So let's see if this drifts further south. Can it test this level? That's, like I said, this is going to be my target for now. If it can, then the big question, will it actually continue providing support or not? Will we actually get a nice rebound here back to the upside? But for now, it is where it is. It is leaning. I'm still leaning here to the downside. So let's see how it will behave near this 94.65 level. Quick update on silver. Silver had a fantastic pop today, not to mention the pop yesterday as well. So as you can see, it kind of overcame all of my levels here. The level that I was keeping an eye on was the highest point of September 2019. And let me just double check if this is actually also that's the highest point of 2019 as well. So this week basically we had an overshoot above that level, and we had a nice daily close above that level as well, and that happened on Monday, but it just continued to rally on Tuesday, and today, as you can see here, the commodity managed to reach, and let me just capture this little area. So the commodity managed to reach an area around the 23 mark, so around the $23 mark. So from which, as you can see, it is now correcting lower. Now the big question here is, of course, is this will this actually travel back up by the end of today's trading day? Well, I mean, let's of course see, but don't get me wrong, at some point we will get a nice correction here to the downside, but for now it's really difficult to talk about any correction, and in a way, even if we look at the 4-hour chart, for example, you can see that it has already corrected. It might actually push back up again here, but the big question here is how close will it get to that 23 mark again. But again, for now, basically, long story short, guys, we are still leaning here to the upside, still aiming for the 23 mark again. If that gets overshot, then of course we could start looking at some much higher levels. And if I jump quickly into the monthly chart, you can see that if gold, for example, is very close to its all-time high, silver is not really. Silver has still plenty of room to run if it wishes to kind of get closer to the to its all-time high, which was reached here in April 2011, and that level is, let me just quickly put this on the chart, and that level is near the 49.83 zone. So as you can see, comparing it to where we are right now, still plenty of room. Of course, that's, like I said, that's in the scenario if this commodity does wish to move further north. But again, for now, it is where it is, guys. So let's see how all this is going to play out. But yeah, it's very interesting here on silver, and we'll keep a close eye on it, especially if it pops again above the $23 mark. So keep your eyes on that one. If it starts moving lower here, and let me just capture a level, and let me just grab this one right here. Now this is one of those. There we go, just bear with me one moment. Nope, not this one, but this one right here. Okay, difficult one to grab here. Just bear with me. There we go. So the 21.13 level. So that's the one we're going to be keeping a close eye on in case the price starts falling below this. And this is, by the way, the highest point of 2016. If the price starts falling back below it, then yep, I'll aim for this upside support line taken from the low of the 7th of May. We do have another upside support line here, also a bit of a tentative one, and we could kind of aim for this upside line for a quick test. But again, we would need to see a nice good drop below the 21.13 level, which is the highest point of 2016. So keep your eyes on that one. Could be quite interesting here. Now, quick update on WTI oil. It's reversing back down. This morning I talked about this one, basically what I was saying, that yes, on one hand, the fact that the commodity managed to push above this, if it's above its 200-day EMA, and also yesterday it managed to break above the highest point of June. That was great, but yesterday it still closed below the highest point of June, and today it seems that it's still struggling with that barrier. And that barrier is near the 41.61 level. We would like to see a nice good daily close above this area before considering slight, or should I say, getting comfortable with higher levels. Because don't get me wrong, the fact that the price structure here is of higher lows kind of gives a bit of keeps a bit of positivity here in this whole outlook, at least in the near-term outlook. And the fact that it is also trading right now above the 200-day EMA, it's not really dropping below it, also kind of keeps us on the positive side. But as I said, to be a little bit on the cautious and more comfortable side, in order to kind of aim for some higher levels, we would like to see a nice daily close above this 41.61 level. So we're still keeping an eye on that one. Quick update on Ethereum. So although Ethereum had a nice rally here to the upside yesterday, it got back above this upside support line taken from the low of the 13th of March. Today it's kind of the kind of the main, well, I would say the losing the most among the, let's say, top 5 cryptos like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, and Litecoin, and itself Ethereum. So it's kind of drifting back down here. However, it still remains above this upside support line. So in a way, everything's kind of still leading a little bit more to the upside. However, as I mentioned before, the ideal scenario here for me would be a break above the 253.50 level in order, and that's basically the highest point of June, in order to kind of aim for some higher levels, because such a move would confirm a forthcoming higher high and more buyers could be joining in here. A quick update on AUD/JPY. So I've talked about this pair this morning as well, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on the 76.79 levels. So that was my initial target. We managed to reach that, and as you can see now, the pair is struggling to kind of push further above it. So so yeah, now the big question here is, will this area continue to provide resistance? If it does, then we might see maybe a bit of a correction here to the downside. However, if this barrier surrenders eventually, and we do see the daily candle kind of staying above this area, above this highest point of June near the 76.79, then the next target is around the 77.54 level, marked by the low of March here. Or actually, let me just be a little bit more specific. The low of March 25th of 2019, and like I said, then we would take it from there. But again, all eyes right now are on this barrier right here, the 76.79 zone. We would like to see a nice good pop and a nice good daily close above it in order to aim for some higher levels. If it continues to provide resistance and we see the rate kind of correcting back down here, then still not all is lost for the buyers, because they could come in somewhere near this upside support line taken from the low of the 2nd of April. But if that upside line breaks, well, logically we could maybe consider some larger extensions to the downside. But again, for now, everything's still leading to the upside. Quick update on US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So we had the Canadian CPI figures, which came out much better than the forecast. So basically kind of got the Canadian dollar did get a bit of support, but as you can see, we didn't get a huge move here to the downside. maybe some of it has to do with the fact that the oil is kind of declining a little bit. So as we know, the Canadian dollar is heavily related to the oil market. So yeah, for now this is the situation. The fact that it's still staying below this 1.3488 territory, yes, that's great news for the sellers. But again, we'll be very careful. We're still leaning to the downside here, but only up until the lowest point of June near the 1.3314 zone. If by any chance this one starts pushing back above this 1.3488 territory, then, well, I mean, we could maybe see this one climbing back up here, but again, I'll pick up on this one if we do get this move back above it. So yep, keep your eyes on this one, keep your eyes on this 1.3488 level, and let's see how all this is going to play out. Now, quick update on the euro against the Singapore dollar, and I've talked about this one this week and last week as well. Basically, I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.5970 zone, which was my target initially, and that was the highest point of March 20 of this year, and we can see that the pair has managed to break sharply this one, pierce it through this barrier, and now it's kind of on its way to kind of creating a new all-time high, or a new high for not all-time high, sorry, a new high for this year. So let's see where it's going to stop, but again, for now, everything's kind of looking quite positive here for this pair, and yep, it continues to rally. So let's this one's quite interesting. The next potential target here could be near the high of near the highest point of September of 2018, and that's, let me just quickly grab this one on the chart here, and that's roughly around the 1.6113 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Jumping into another very interesting pair I also mentioned this week and last week, and that's the euro against the Turkish lira, and you can see we're having a nice lift off here, and the pair is moving further north, closer to that psychological 8 mark. So let's see if we can get a touch of that, because just slightly above the psychological 8 level, we do have the 8.0132 area, roughly around there, and that's basically the all-time high for this pair. So we are at a very historic moment right now. So let's see how far the Turkish lira can devalue against the euro. But again, for now, I am leaning a little bit more towards that psychological 8 level. So let's see if we can reach that. In order to aim for some lower levels here, well, I mean, clearly we need to see at least a break of this short-term, well, actually more of a medium-term upside support line taken from the low of the 5th of March. And finally, Euro USD. So I talked about this one this morning, and initially I was targeting this 1.1570 territory, which, as you can see, got tested, and we've managed to even overshot it nicely. That level was is the highest point of January 2019, and also is the highest point of 2019, and you can see that we managed to overcome it nicely. So let's see where this is going to end today, because if it stays above this barrier, then yep, higher levels could be met again. We could then move further north, maybe towards somewhere here, somewhere around the 1.1621 zone, marked by the highest point of October 2018, or even going further, we could maybe go and test this level right here, guys, near the 1.1815. But maybe, of course, before kind of reaching this 1.1815, I mean, there could be a bit of a correction here at some point. But let's say for now, all eyes are on this barrier here, the highest point of 2019, near the 1.1570 zone. If the daily candle by any chance kind of travels back down and stays below it today, then maybe we could see that little correction a little bit earlier. But overall, we're still bullish on this pair. So guys, I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. If you want to catch my video tomorrow morning, as always, my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, guys, I hope you have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.